Well, hello there. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Full Quota podcast. My name is Mpho and I've got Tim Delace here with this is our podcast. We talk all things South African cricket. We are in a weird part of the season where the Proteas are playing at home. We still have some 4-day cricket, and we had like SAA games and the like that happened against India last week. And then obviously we had some momentum Proteas games with Bangladesh, and we want to talk about all of that. But most importantly, before you do anything else, this is your South African Cricket Podcast. So please do follow us on X. It's formerly known as Twitter at Full Quota Pod. Please subscribe to the One World Sports Radio podcast channel, YouTube channel, and then we're also available on Spotify and Apple if you just search for Full Quota Podcast. So we've covered everything. Please let us let us know your comments. We love them as they filter in. We'll also do interviews. And one thing I want to let you know about the show, we're going to touch on what happened yesterday's game, South Africa and India, and maybe even the T20s. But that's for Thursday. We're going to do that on Thursday. Kind of give you a preview of the Boxing Day situation, because the Test series is what matters here. But there's some things that you need to look into the limited over stuff as we go along. But let's start with what happened this week. Let's start with what happened this week, and that's going to be a new segment. So if you want to advertise on, it can be like the Orion what happened this week, or what happened this week brought to you by whomever you want to sponsor us if you want to sponsor our show. So Tim, let's start with yesterday's situation. This weekend wasn't great for the senior national teams. We saw really, really poor performances from the men's ODI team as well as the women's ODI team. One, you could say, is like a mental thing. Maybe they're mentally tired, and that's the men's side. The other one with the women's team, I know they don't get a lot of games, but we're in a period in women's cricket around the world where games are being played right now. But let's start with the women's team. There is no reason why you should lose to Bangladesh, even if Bangladesh to 250. When I saw that 250, I was a little scared. I thought it's a challenge, and they'll overcome it with the batting that they have. Laura's there. They don't have Marazan. They still have Tasman. They have Sune, who, as I say, we're waiting for you to come back on form. Laura Goodall. You've got Henri Dirksen, who's really, really good. But as it happens, the reason why we lost on that Saturday was our bowlers can't take wickets. We can't take wickets at the right time, and we found ourselves in trouble. And that's been our worry going through. And the other thing is that, and it's going to go across into the men's side, we're the pace bowlers. Where are the quick bowlers? We'll talk about them dying to spin, but they've always had that. But for me, that was the first thing that got me this week, and I was like, oh, we're back here again.
Well, the thing is, when we discuss the sort of the after effects of the World Cup, we discussed the fact that Shipman had decided to retire.
Mm-hmm.
And I said it at the time, and I think, to be fair, we both said it. She is going to leave a crater of air within that side. She is going to leave a massive hole that we are not ready to fill. So it's not surprising that the struggles are there in terms of the bowling. It is surprising at just how much we are struggling. The fact that there is nobody, there literally is nobody to replace them. We will get into the men's cricket, as you say, on Thursday. The men's game has got fast bowlers forever. They are fast bowlers in Division 2 cricket that you could put in the setup and they wouldn't disgrace themselves one bit. It's a lot of things. So it's an end of a generational talent, but it's also years and years of neglect to the women's game at the grassroots and at the domestic level. So we've got this professional setup. It's fantastic. It's going to take a while before we close that gap. it's going to take a while before we find the next shipment girl. Not shipment girl, Ishmael.
Yeah.
Shipment Ishmael. Um, so, yes, as I say, we knew she was going to leave a massive space open for that South African setup. Maybe just not realize just how important she was to this side. She really
Mm.
was an absolute champion for the side, and her not being there. Not forget the others that have retired over the last couple of years. Her not being there is really having a
Yeah.
detrimental effect.
Yeah, and the other thing was the Marzan Cup was injured, right? And so you ask yourself where the others are, right? Elizabeth Marks is new. She's not going to threaten. Nadine de Klerk can't threaten. Ayabonga Kaka is there and she can take wickets, but she hasn't been seen as a wicket taker. And she hasn't been used like a wicket taker, right? She needed to shoulder the burden. Masa Butterclass is like an enforcer. She should, if this team does well, she takes wickets. But if they don't, and she's not taking wickets, it becomes an issue, and you kind of feel like you need someone who's slightly better than that. To me, hasn't gotten there, and it's a worry of mine with this team. I thought they'd try Ayanda Klubi. I thought she had a lot of great attributes, but maybe she hasn't even played 50 over cricket, and I think she has, but I want you to try her out in the series, but she's not in the series squad. So the question for Coach Hilton is, what are you doing with the bowling? Because your batting seems okay, but your bowlers currently right now not helping you with anything. But yeah, so they lost that game, so they'll be hoping to bounce back in 2 days and botch against Bangladesh. Um, the other game with the fast bowling issue was the South Africa, the pink day. But we didn't get to see the fast bowling issue because when I saw the team lists and I realized we were batting first, I thought, oh my word, in the afternoon, India are going to make hay while the sun shines because Vian Mulder was going to be an opening bowler. Like, guys, there's one thing that yesterday taught me outside of the batting collapse, and batting collapses happen. There's some captaincy issues that are there, but something's off about this team, and when it comes to big spots. But yeah, they have a soft underbelly, slightly softer underbelly than previous Protea sides, and the moment you clatter them out, it just feels like it's a one way. And also, Captain Aiden looks pretty, can't grind out hard runs. That's the problem. He can't grind out hard runs, even in an ODI. He'll give you one beautiful cover drive, but then you know he's going. Because it kind of feels like if he can't play his way, it's over. And to a certain extent, a large part of this team feels like that. And yeah, I look at, I don't know where else, how you can change it because this team technically looks amazing. Reese's cover drives are beautiful, but if it's not his day, it's not his day, and he can't change that. He can't be like, well, it's not my day, but let me try just something. And throughout that batting lineup, that's what it was. So we'll leave that to the side.
Yeah,
My big issue was the bowling. And yes, it's 116 and I get it, it's a small total, but how did we get to field a team with one out and out pacer and Vian Mulder, who isn't an out and out pacer? He's a good bowler, but he's not an opening bowler in ODI cricket. He's nowhere near the Marcus Stones. Look, I'd open the bowling with him if Gachiso was there and it's like a three-man pace attack and you like, I understand Vian gets the most amount of swing, but if Vian's your only other option, one, part of a two, that makes no sense to me. And the other question for me was, it kind of felt like they tried to elongate the batting lineup with having Vian and Andile. But for me, pick one. If not, Vian's batting in the top six. He needs to be good enough to usurp someone's spot in the top six. If he can't, then it takes away the advantage that Vian gives us because he's just another bowler. The whole point of an all-rounder is to give you a sixth option, not to give you a fifth option that can bat. That we have, right? And in that case, you pick the better bowler, you don't pick the better batter because you need wickets in ODI cricket. You don't need runs. Whereas in Test cricket, Vian comes in because you need a better batter, and that's how I see it. But for me, that's how I saw Pink Day. I was like, it's a massive, massive disappointment. this team is very soft. They don't know how to fight out hard runs. They don't even know how to um, stick through tough conditions like it was yesterday morning at the Wanderers, and see them through. And to a certain extent, everyone was complaining about Timber and all the drama that he had. I'll send you to that game against Afghanistan when he was working with that injury. Those 60 runs he put on with Quinton, in my eyes, were the reason why we won that game. Because if he doesn't bat and we have that collapse like we did, we lose that game. So his job is to blunt the attack up front, and without someone like that doing that for you, it with this team, it just doesn't give them the foundation they need. They need everything to be working in their favor for them to perform. But when it's not, they don't. So that's why I sit with this Proteas ODI side at this point in time.
I'm slightly less critical. So for me, we're playing a World Cup in 4 years. I'm not particularly bothered. In 6 months, no, not even 6 months. In 6 weeks' time, after the series is finished, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to care who won this, who lost this, what happened. It's really on the carousel of international cricket. It's going to become low on the priorities. That doesn't mean to say that the performance was terrible. No, it was terrible. The performance was terrible in every single facet that South Africa played. There's no denying the fact that is true. I don't have such a problem with the 11. I get it. It definitely meant that we were weaker bowling. Absolutely, there was absolutely no doubt about it. But our priority, and Shukri has said it, and our priority for this series is the Test series.
It is. Okay.
Our priority is not the ODIs. It's not the priority. That's why Marco Jansen was playing 4-day cricket. That's why Dean Algo was playing 4-day cricket. It's not. That's why they wanted Temper Performer to play 4-day cricket. This was not a priority. We want to win.
Yeah.
Of course we want to win. But it's not a priority. So, didn't have a problem with the 11. I had a huge problem with the way that they were batting. You lose 2 early wickets, that happens. Good balls,
Yes.
balls swinging around a bit, that happens. You're 3 for 2. That just happens. What happened after that was really concerning. It reminded me of playing Australia in 2007, where we felt like we had to make 400 for some reason. It made no sense to me that, for example, Tony's approach made no sense to me. I don't know if that was on the fly from himself or whether that was team tactics where he wants to smash everything out of the ground. It made no sense to me at all. I didn't think India bowled particularly well outside of those first 5 overs when they get the ball to swing both ways. We were just giving wickets away.
But the damage is done.
Like it was confetti. Anything of any width, we were just saying, "There's a catch, there's a catch, there's a catch." So the batting was just the approach to the batting made no sense whatsoever, and it meant that we couldn't see what a slightly weakened bowling attack could do on a pitch like that, which is a shame because I like the fact that they were prepared to go along that way. I wouldn't go that way 6 months out from a World Cup, but 4 years out of a World Cup, going in this 11, no issues.
Yeah, but I'd have loved to see Othniel Bartman on this pitch. Obviously the runs weren't there, but I thought I was okay with 2 debutants in the bowling lineup as the pacers, right? I was okay with that. But I think they were afraid of that, and that's why they did the whole Andile and Vian axis, which yeah. But look, you're right. No one's gonna care about it after next week, unless if India humiliate us and win 3-0, which humiliation and Aiden Markram as captain against India go hand in hand. And that's my last night comment on that. Speaking of the thing that's important, the Test series, India brought an India A side, and so this week's India A side was South Africa A side playing the India A side was more of a up and coming Division 2 youngsters game. If you want to see who the youngsters are, that's the game you should have watched. South Africa A. It ended in a draw because of the rain and now in outfields, but South Africa A scored 319 to start off with. Jean Duplessis of the Six Gun Grill Garden Route Badgers in Division 2 scored a century. Ruben Harman of Northwest scored a 95. Connor Estes in the Lions wicketkeeper scored 48. Evan Jones with a 20. That was really nice from them. 5 wicket haul from Prasid Krishna. And then Surab Kumar took 3 wickets for India. India A then resumed again, well, in reply, started again. Stay scored 417. Pradosh Rajan Paul scored 163. Safaraz Khan 68. Shardul Thakur scored a 76. They scored 417 all out. The bowlers in South Africa who took the wickets, Evan Jones took 4 for 100. Sia Plaiki of the Warriors 365, 3 for 65. Ethan Bosch of the Titans 2 for 46, and Udirile Mudimukwane 1 for 54. Second innings was more of a damp squib. It was just guys getting some action out there in the middle. Yassine Vali scoring 72. Jean Duplessis getting a 50. He's done really well to put his hand up, hasn't he, Tim? Jean Duplessis, Division 2.
Yeah, and we've been talking about in the last couple of weeks. We've been saying that it's only a matter of time before he's playing Division 1 cricket, and if he's not doing it next season, then something is very, very wrong in the system. But you're right, this was a much younger setup. The average age of the series against West Indies was 29. This was 24, so there's a marked difference in personnel and age. Very important that somebody like Ethan Bosch got overs in him.
Yeah.
I thought he bowled initially like a man who hasn't bowled for several weeks. He was rusty, he was wayward, but once he got going, once he bowled half a dozen overs, he got into his straps, got a couple of wickets, and that will do him a world of good because he's been away for a long time. Yasin Valley will be delighted. Look, the batsmen in general will be delighted that they were able to withstand what was a genuine Indian A setup against some good quality, consistent bowling, and to a large extent, most of them came out of it as if they've shown that they've got something about them. There's a reason they are professional cricketers, and people like Jean Duplessis, there's no reason why they can't get high honours. But just on that, I've been reliably informed that he will be playing for Namibia in a couple of weeks. His brother already plays for them. I'm not sure which tournament they're playing. I can't remember. I think it's I can't remember, but I've been reliably informed that that's the case. That of course doesn't stop him playing for South Africa.
Yeah, because it's an associate nation.
Down the road. But yes, he wants to play for Namibia at the moment, so he's got ties there, as I say. But brothers
So we're picking guys in SAA who are playing for other countries, Tim. That's an interesting thing. Okay, we wish him all the best. He can always come back, similar to all the other South Africans playing in the Netherlands. One call up closes up everything. Brandon Glover, I think that's your name. We're looking at you. We're eyeing you. Les Deploy as well. We could pull you back from Hungary if you want. But yeah, okay. Let's move on to what we actually came here to do, the CSA 4-day series recap. Just talking about all the cricket. It was live on the CSA YouTube channel, right? All the games. We had 6 games on. You had 2 Division 2 and you had 4 Division 1 games. This was the game where all the Proteas were supposed to come in. The only 2 Proteas that didn't play were the guys either playing in the ODI series or Kagiso, who has a little bit of a niggle, as well as Temba Bavumo had personal reasons. And I'm going to take them as personal reasons. I'm not going to be like, oh, no, other captains. There was a tweet that came out from another old journo who said he worked through his children's births and all of those other things. And I was like, personal matters, unlucky. That's all you're going to get.
All I'm going to say is people are different. If we're all the same, life would be terribly boring. Yes. So I'm not going to say that's right or wrong, People are different, and I'm certainly not going
Guys,
to criticize
just tell
you
us
starting.
that you don't want Timber to captain the side or to be playing South African cricket anytime for the rest of his life. Then tell us. Don't hide behind, oh no, other captains did this. Other just be. I'd rather you tell me you don't want Timber in the side, and I'd be happy with it. And then we could take it to CSA, and you can tell them about it, and then we'd end it there because then they'll tell you the story instead of judging a man for taking time off for personal reasons.
Yeah,
Yes, we would have wanted him to play, but it is what it is,
yeah,
right? That
it is
that's
exactly.
there's nothing we can do about it. Anyway,
No,
oh, so much cricket. Okay, so the first game we're going to talk about is Western Province. Tim, they are doing well, but the question was, how well would they do without their players? Western Province played without Mihlali Mpongwana, Ryan, who's Carl Verena, Dane Patterson, Andre Berger, as well as Tony DeZorzi, but they've managed to win this game against Northwest. Northwest putting up 236. Western Province coming back with 345 in reply. Northwest 181 in their second innings, and then Western Province putting up 73 for two. Some of the key performers in this game. George Linda reminded us that he's still playing cricket. He scored 88. Yasin Vali scored 59. Carl Simmons scored a 52, and David Bedingham scored a 51. And Tiwa Kanabe 5 for 46. And to a certain extent, that game, Tim, was really important for Western Province to kind of test the depth that they had, and they came out well.
they came out superbly. The turning point of the game. You might look at that and say, well, they won on the third day. It was one-sided, but for large parts, it was anything but. The turning
Mm,
point of that game was when Province were 178 for six. George Linder comes in with Carl Simmons, and they made 95 run partnership, and they
mm,
scored at a quick rate. So they took that score from 178 for six to 345 all out. Um, that was the turning point of the fixture. Um, Province will be delighted. They'll be delighted in particular that they were able to get the win without Dane Patterson and Andre Berger. We know that their pace attack is um, it's highly thought of. We weren't quite sure of what the next
mm,
crop are like. Somebody like Nabi's been around a long time. He's been around the system a long
yes.
time. He's had to move teams, not really get
Mm,
consistent game time. But for him to get in there, he's probably not going to play the next game. To get 5 for 40 and bowl as well as he did is a testament to staying within his lane
yeah.
and doing the business, just doing the business, doing for what is needed.
Yes.
So Province will be delighted. Northwest will be concerned because it's not the first time they've had these blowouts where they've looked like they're
Mm,
competing, and they have these blowouts from nowhere. The youngsters are doing the business. People like Michael Prince, um, and Michael Pistorius is having an absolute storming time of it. But their seasoned professionals like Lasipa and Gorby are not having a good season. Their top order in the batting, in a general sense, are struggling. So that's one that they need to look at.
okay. I'm a fan of what happened this weekend with Miguel Pistorius scoring 83, taking a 10 for in the game, 6 wickets in the first innings, and then coming back with what is it, four? Or he didn't take 4 wickets. He didn't take a 10 for. He took 6 wickets in the first inning. Sorry, and he took was 83 runs. I thought he did quite well. Mikhail Prince putting his hand up in the wicket keeping stakes. He's having a great breakthrough season, 64 in that first innings. And yeah, the question obviously for what is it for Northwest is being able to string all these things together, as you say, right? They have a good team, but from a 4 day situation, it feels as though they compete in one innings and the second innings they just don't. and I
Yeah.
think that's something they're going to have to try and figure out. But with that, let's move to the next match. Let's go with the one, the Dolphins and the Lions, that ended in a draw, 245 for 9. The Dolphins declaring, and then the Lions coming back with 411 for 8. They wanted to bat first. And then the Dolphins only managed to get 190 for 3. Yeah, just from that perspective, obviously that game was shortened because of the rain. And Mark Zuckerman scoring 140, Bjorn Fortain scoring his 100, Zubair Hamza 98, Tsepang Ditole of the Dolphins with a 59 and a 93, Wandile Makwetu with a 65, and Cody Yusuf 6 for 49. Horrible draw for both sides who are looking to get up the table. But yeah, good batting, not great bowling.
Yeah, it was the batsman's paradise over there. It really was, and the guys did really well. The guys that you mentioned are had really good games. I'm delighted for Totoli. I really am. I
Mm,
think I don't want to call retirement on him, but I think somebody like Sarwell, he is coming to the end. So for
yeah.
somebody like Totoli there, he could be his natural successor, and he's doing the business. He's knocking down the runs,
Mm,
scoring runs in both innings. Um, but what was concerning was the bowling. The bowling looked toothless at both ends, and
mm,
that was a huge issue. Lions, you're obviously missing Sir Pamela. You didn't have Olafia, although he was wearing the 12th man bib. I did happen to see that. But
mm,
you're missing genuine fast bowling. The the Dolphins, they have been struggling throughout the season. As I said earlier, without Ethan Bosch,
yeah.
to Pavilion was injured for the beginning of the
And
season.
Bartman was with the Proteas.
Bart was with the Proteas. So Okakule is having to lead that attack, and he's probably that's asking a lot. That's asking a lot for him to do.
Mm,
When he's just come back from a massive uh, injury
injury as
himself,
well. Yeah.
he didn't play at all last season. Um, so that they really are struggling. They're getting runs from their guys.
Mm-hmm.
So the guys that they've been playing, the Porteouses, the Slade van Starens, have been
Mm,
scoring runs. Totali's been scoring runs. Marcus Ackerman scored 140. Delighted for him to be scoring. Those guys are doing the runs, but the bowlers are not getting the 20 wickets, which is not getting them across the line, which is a concern. And obviously, as I said,
and obviously on the
Well,
line side, the bowling as well.
Lions,
Um,
yeah,
without
yeah.
obviously Kagiso's unavailable, but I think Duan was not playing.
Yes, he
Um,
was wearing a bib. He was there.
yeah,
He was just not playing.
yeah.
But Pablo out for most of the season. You know,
Yeah,
we've
the bowling woes for the Lions continue because it's more of an injury-based thing rather than an availability thing. And
yeah,
obviously, Vian Mulder being gone, and they use Vian as their opening bowler, which I don't like, but that this is the situation that the Lions find themselves in, right? Um, Moving on to the next game, Boerland versus, oh, not Boerland, it's the Paul Rocks, but Cricket Info needs to up their game here. The Paul Rocks scored 232 against the Tuskers. Tuskers only managing 179. In reply, was it Paul got to 178 for 9 declared, and in the fourth innings, 104 for 5 were the Tuskers. Keegan Peters, that match was drawn. Keegan Peterson with a 57, Yanaman Malan with a 55, Tian Kukenmood with an 80, Sean van Berg coming out with 5 for 31. This game is important because whoever won this game kind of gave themselves an inside shot at avoiding relegation. Obviously, with the T20 coming up, because I know with Boerland, with thingy, what is it? With the One Day Cup, the Tuskers were last, and what is it? The Paul Rocks were second last, right? So you needed some sort of way to get yourself through, and this game was really important in terms of fighting off relegation for the Tuskers. More importantly, because that gives you leverage and puts the Paul Rocks at the bottom from a 4 day perspective. So a draw is not the end of the world for the Tuskers, but they now need to find a way to win a game and get a victory in this thing to kind of move up. Paul Rocks, same thing. To avoid relegation, you need to win games. This was a game that you needed to win. They didn't, and I think both sides would come out disappointed.
This was the fixture where they needed a ref. They needed to say to Peter Maritzburg, listen, we want a ref for this game. Build it 5 minutes, and we can win a game, and then you can take it back. Um, to have to watch the live stream and sit there with no covers on, which I don't think it rained at any time on the Saturday at all.
Mm-hmm.
And all it was overnight rain, so it was a damp outfield.
Oh,
And not a
jeez.
ball was
Oh,
bowled.
man.
Not
That's
a ball
horrible.
was bowled on that Saturday. The covers, as far as I can remember, the covers never came on. So the Tuskers, although the scoreline might suggest that the ball were on top, that was not the case.
Mm.
It was just the fact that the situation of the game on the Sunday, it was going to be a draw, so it didn't really matter what happened. It was very much in play on that Saturday for the Tuskers to get a win in this game against the
Yeah.
Bowland side, who continually struggle with their batting. They struggled throughout. Yes, Janaman scored 50 at the second innings, but he didn't look free-flowing himself. He's
At
still
all.
well short of where he needs to be. So the Tuskers, as you say, they'll be gutted. They lost out by 1 point in the One Day Cup, and they lost out here purely on the fact that they didn't get out the field at all on that Saturday. They'll be absolutely gutted. As you say, they've still got a chance. It's still quite close between the two of them
Mm-hmm.
on the log. But they are the guys that need to do the moving. They are the guys that need to do the winning. Whereas Borland don't. They just need to keep not losing. Not
Yeah.
losing and get as many batting points as they can.
Yes, yes, yes. I think that's going to be the differential here. There's a batting points, and yeah, that Tusker side need to step up and try and get as much as they can if they're not going to win games. Okay. Last 4 day game was a cracker. The Titans taking on the Warriors in Pretoria. Titans put up 383 in the first innings. Warriors then come with a 460. That 383 included Durval Brevis 110. Spanela Makanya also scored 83. Coburn Bosch got 57. The Bear Swanepoel took a fifer in that for the Warriors in that innings. Mark Jansen taking 2 wickets. In reply, Javesh and Pillay 114. There were contributions from Kleshile 66, Patrick Kruger 45, Mark Jansen 35, Bear Swanepoel 65, and a mammoth 460 from the Warriors. Corbin Bosch with 3 wickets for the Titans. And Neil Brandt 3 wickets for 17 for the Titans. Corbin Bosch went for 3 for 109. Just to put out there. And then in reply to make it a game, 326 for 9 declared by the Titans. Rivaldo Munsami, the wicketkeeper who was playing for Northern Cape last year, he scored 124. Matthew Kleinfeld 46. David Brevis also coming through with a 47 there. Bear Swanepoel took a fifer. Marco Jansen took 3 wickets, which would make means he took 5 for the game. So Bears was on a 10-fer. And then in reply to chase it down, the Warriors went for it, but the Titans bowling was just that good. John Hammond scored a 40. Mark Jansen scored a 257 to help the Warriors to get to 236, but they were 13 runs short because Joe Kutsia took 4 for 40, 54. Neil Brandt 3 for 20, 69, and Diego Brevis 2 for 41. Went down to the final afternoon. While we were busy at the Pink Day, Tim, you were watching this game. Yeah, great win for the Titans.
This was a cracker. This was a cracker. This was the game of the weekend. This was an advert for 4-day cricket. This was the reason why we should have the Proteas playing as many games of these as they can. We know they can't play every game, but it was important that we have a sprinkling of the Proteas guys playing, showing the guys coming through what they need to do. This was fantastic. It went down to the wire. It went down to the penultimate over. They needed 13 of the last two. Mark Janssen had 57. And Bunty Boulder. Bunty bowled what you do at like under turns. Bunty went and he bowled a wide ball way above Janssen's eye line. Now, Janssen is 7 foot tall, so you know how high that was.
Mm-hmm.
And he teased him out of the off stump and said, "Go on, hit me. Go on. And you want to hit me? Hit me over cover." And he went for the big one, and he completely sliced it straight up in the air. And it was a nice, easy catch for Bunty. But it was fantastic. You wonder if somebody like Gerald would rein himself in. Said, "No, I've got a test in a couple of weeks. I don't want to get injured. Maybe I should just rein myself in and bowl 135s." None of that. None of that from Gerald. He was at it from ball one. He was aggressive. He was in your face. He was shouting at the batsmen. He was sending them off. He was doing the Gerald could see stuff that you've been seeing as a Protea. I thought Bright's captaincy was outstanding on that final day because he knew Robbie P was going to go for it. He knew that 250 and 54 overs, Robbie P was going to go, "We're going to go for this." He knew that.
Yeah.
The bowling round the wicket of Brevis was a masterstroke. It was a masterstroke. It was saying, "I'm going to bowl at your legs. If you want to win, fine. But you're going to have to take the risk. You're going to have to expose your stumps. You're going to have to do the movement." And, there were a couple of sixes off his bowling, but he got the crucial wicket. He got He got Jordan. Jordan Haman, who was batting as if he was on 100. He was batting on 100. And that was the crucial wicket. They were obviously, in terms of the game, there were more crucial wickets when things got really, really tight. But that was the main guy that they needed to get because he was having no trouble at all when Warriors were losing early wickets. So yeah, Brunt's captaincy was top draw. There's a reason why he's so highly thought of by CSA at the moment. Lovely to see Brevis also do what he's supposed to be doing, score that 100.
Score runs.
That's important.
Yes.
That's important. And in this world where everybody who can bat and bowl is suddenly an all-rounder candidate, I don't agree with it. I think it is madness. But in this world that is the case, Bayer Swanepoel put up his hand. It said, "I got 10. I got 10.
And 60.
Thank you very much." And a 60. And a 60
Yes.
at run a ball, right? I think it was more than run a ball. I think it was 60 of like 52 or something.
But what I'll tell you, what I'll say about Bay is I think it's unfortunate that he's not in the test squad. And my only thing is with him is that if he is that potent and still can apply himself with the bat at that pace, him and Marco at 7 and 8 would close out a lot of arguments we have around that lower middle order and everything else. And even if you have to put him up against Marco, he's proving that he can also do just as much as Marco in the same game, right? Obviously, one's more of an opening bowler, the other one isn't, but still, like for like, beautiful. I loved it. Every time Bayer Swanepoel, I've watched him play, he's actually impressed me more with his batting than his bowling, and that tells you a lot about it, especially on a game like this where he took a 10 for that 68, kept his team in the game. And you need stuff like that. Obviously, in the second innings, it didn't work out as what they wanted, but this is what we want. This game needed to be on TV. This day, once Pink Day was done, they should have put it on the big screen and said, "Don't go. Bars will be open. Here we go. Here's the context. Watch South African cricket at its best and see what was going to happen." But that didn't happen. But I'm happy that we got some Protea action. It was top draw, and Robbie obviously was going to go for that 250, and you should. You should 250 and 50 overs in any game of cricket outside of the fact that you are the Tuskers or Paul. I
Yes,
wouldn't touch it. I would go for it. The
I
rest,
agree, but I agree, but teams don't. They don't do that enough for me. If that is a lot of the teams at the moment, I think the only two teams that genuinely go for that are Province and the Warriors. I think a team like Borland, the Rocks, if they go six down, they shut up shop. They go, okay, we've tried, we've done it, we've put in a good
yeah,
effort,
okay.
and they
I hear
shut up
you.
shop.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to the other two Division 2 games. We're going to go through them quickly. Northern Cape against Mpumalanga. Northern Cape winning by an innings and 96 runs. That was a really good win for them, even though they need to get off the bottom of the table. And that was really important for them. What else? So in that game, Ernest Kim scored 168, Yuri Sineman 131, Emmanuel Mutsiri 104. Joe van Dijk took 10 for 70 in the match. Is he the same Van Dijk that was in SAA?
Correct.
Ah,
Ding,
nice.
ding, 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 ding. He
Cool.
has got 10 wickets in the match. If I don't think the two are, I think the two are correlated. He's got that call up, and he said, "I'm gonna make a performance."
Yeah. He's been a guy in that side where you're like he's actually quality to play in Division 1. I just don't understand why the Knights didn't get him in that season that got relegated. Um Then the next one, which is a cracker, Easton's against the Knights. Easton's putting 389, Knights getting bowled out for 176, and then the Knights again 238. But Easton's having 26 to win. Dion Forrester of the Knights scoring 125. Donny Rousseau of the Eastern scoring 111. Gabela Sukukune 70, and Divan Postumus scoring 52 there. Another really nice win for Jeff Tayana's men there in the East, and a good win for them nonetheless. Really, really good. Eastern Storm move up to second on the log, with the iTech Knights still sitting on top. The Knights have already played one game extra than them. Then Limpopo Impalas sitting in third. The Northern Cape Heat have moved up to fourth after that win. The Garden Route Badgers have only played two games. They're sitting in fifth. The Mpumalanga Rhinos and the Eastern Cape Linyati are at the bottom there. Two big things, obviously, is and I'll put up the tables, even though the tables for the Division 2 are not correct. Northern Cape moved up to fourth position, and then Mpumalanga and Border at the bottom, with Southwestern District, which is the Garden Route Badgers, sitting in fifth. Yeah, really, really good Division 2 cricket there, Tim. Just looking across the Division 1 table, the Warriors sitting at the top after that loss. The Titans closed the gap on them. Western Province hanging in there, 3 points separating them. If you think about it, it's 13 points separating 1 and 6. That means if you get a win here and 16 and the full complement of batting points, you can find yourself at the top. If you do really well, you can see the Dolphins in fourth, Northwestern fifth, the Lions in sixth, and then you've got the two teams we think will be playing for relegation, the Paul Rocks and the AET Tuskers there at the bottom. Batting points are important because they haven't even won a game. So, yeah, any final words there for the 4-day series recap?
Oh, just that was Johannes van Dijk's first tenfer of his career.
Okay.
That's important, and also the fact that the Easterns win against the Knights. It means that the Knights don't just run away with it. They don't just run
Yes.
away with promotion. That win was obviously massive for them, but it's also massive for the competition, and it really makes things very, very interesting. Um, you would think Dane Pete will come back for the Knights just to secure
Remember,
that.
Tim. Remember, Tim. Northern Cape were in this situation. They had won the T20 competition. They had won. They came second in the One Day Cup, and the 4-day was their issue. Here, Knights won. While Knights get the 4 points for the T20 competition or the ODI competition, Um, they are there and thereabouts in the 4 days. It's going to come down to that T20 competition. I don't think they let Dane Pete go just yet. But that February, March, Division 2, Easterns looking to fight through and get themselves up there. If Easterns can win this 4 day series, having played one game less, they can give the Knights a competition, because I don't think the Northern Cape could get there. Limpopo is
I'll
up
tell you
there,
what.
but they're playing good
I'll tell you
cricket.
what.
But yeah, we're in for a
I'll tell
fight
you.
here.
I'll tell you what. Limpopo. Imagine if Gordon Parsons. I think it's going to be a stretch too far, but if you look at the numbers between them and the Knights, the numbers are if you, are very very tight.
Mm,
Limpopo could do it. They could
yes.
do it.
And this was the
Actually,
format we were worried about. No, but
yes,
it depends on the T20 competition. I don't think Limpopo can do it for a full season. I think they're just going to be third and hanging around there, because I think they came fourth in the One Day Cup. They went like at the bottom. But from a situation, I think for Division 2, it's going to be the top two. Easterns was up there in the One Day Cup. This iTech Knights team has won it, and now it's Easterns and the Knights. And what Gordon Parsons' team can do is be the Garden Route
disruptor.
Badgers of last season that decide who goes up and who doesn't. And I think that's what this 4 day series is going to come out. And with all the rain and all the weather, a drawn match for any one of these top two teams could mean the other one goes through, or the other one has an advantage going into the T20 tournament, which in my head, numbers down and paper on paper, that Eastern side is a seriously powerful T20
Yes,
side.
yeah, on paper. Just so we can clarify for people, promotion is based on 3 competitions. Champions in Division 1 is based on 2 competitions. Have I got that right? Is that correct?
No. Champions in Division 1 is also based on the T20. No, it's on two. It's on two. Because that
The 2,
T20
yes.
competition is a mixed competition. It's
Exactly,
Division
yeah.
1 and 2.
Yeah.
But
So,
promotion
yeah.
promotion is based. No, wait. Let me get this right. Yes. Um, we'll confirm it. We'll confirm it. But essentially, promotion and relegation is based on 3 tournaments, not based on 2. So even that CSA T20 challenge is going to be quite important, because it's going to tell you. Because last year it was Division A and Division 2, Division 1, Division 2. And I think they're going to do that again this year, from a T20
Oh yes,
perspective, to help guys go through.
it's the same setup as we had last season, but
Yeah.
I
So
know
it's three
that.
competitions. Yeah. So three
Yeah.
competitions that govern the champion of Division 1 and who gets relegated out of Division 1, and 3 competitions govern who goes up from Division 2. And it's based on your positioning. You'll get points allocated based on your position in all 3 tournaments. You add those up, the maximum you can get is 45. Whoever gets the highest points is the winner of that division, and the person who's going to get promoted into Division 2. The person with the lowest number of points in Division 1 will then get relegated out of it. And so, for instance, for the CSA One Day Cup, the Tuskers got 0 points for finishing last, but Paul Rocks got 1 point for finishing second last. That's why that game that they played this week was important, because had, let's say, the Tuskers won, they would then condemn the Paul Rocks to 0 points, and they would get 1 point, and they'd be even going into the final um, tournament, which is the T20 challenge. And so that's where this jockeying is going to come, because it doesn't matter how well you do in one. You may win one, but you could get yourself relegated, but winning one would keep you in, essentially, unless if it was like one of those years where everybody was so good that some teams came last and whatever it is. So it's that. And so that's exciting. That's exciting thing about this is that you have to have a all format team rather than picking one format. But if you did that, it doesn't work into Division 2. It works in Division 1. That's how Northwest keep on surviving. They're very good limited overside. They play that well. They get their 7 points. and then they sit and wait and see how many more points they need to get themselves through, and then they'll do well in a T20 competition, and then they'll end up themselves getting out. Whereas, yeah, you've got a situation with the Tuskers and the Paul Rocks who are not going to be middling in any of these tournaments right now from what we've seen. Outside of that, Tim, do you have any more, or should we let the
well,
people know?
I'm just looking at the numbers from last season. So you got promoted from 2 competitions last season.
Okay.
The T20s did not count for promotion.
Okay.
The Division 1 champions T20 competition counted. It's only the 2.
Oh, because it was over 2 seasons instead of 1.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so it's 2. Okay, so
it's
just,
4-day cup, 4-day cup, and 1-day cup for promotion. Promotion, and the winners of Division 1 is 4-day, 1-day T20.
okay.
We will of course correct ourselves next week if we are wrong. But as far as I am aware, and I have spoken to somebody from Cricket South Africa, and that is the way that it is going.
Okay,
as far as I can tell.
That makes sense. Okay, cool, Tim. We'll be back on Thursday, talking India South Africa preview of the Test series, which is what kind of matters right now. We love the limited over stuff, and we'll talk a little bit about that because India keep on coming with these young teams, showing up their depth and scaring us for the next 4 years. So we'll be doing that. But outside of that, Tim, goodbye and lesale kakahisu.